All right, welcome everybody. We tragically have had another mass shooting. This one looks like it may be into the double digits with the death toll and many, many more injured. We're standing by for a press conference at the bottom of the hour from California officials, and we'll hopefully learn more about it at that time. What we know, I probably will not cover this on the show tomorrow because what else is there to say? How would my coverage be materially different about this shooting than the last one and the previous one and the previous one and the previous? It's a problem of epidemic proportions. And what we know so far, article from the Los Angeles Times, 9 people, including the gunman, died in a mass shooting at San Jose Light Rail Yard Wednesday morning. The gunman set his own house on fire before he drove to a Valley Transportation Authority union meeting and began shooting. He was identified as a 57-year-old maintenance worker at the VTA. So, is this another disgruntled employee situation? There are, rumors that this was a hate crime, which we'll see at the press conference at the bottom of the hour what they are saying at this point in time. Investigators believe there are still explosive devices at the VTA site. Light rail service has been suspended indefinitely. Santa Clara County Sheriff Lori Smith said the building is remote and the area is cordoned off, so there's no immediate risk to the public. We received information that there are explosive devices that are located inside the building. We activated our bomb squad, which is currently out on scene. Davis confirmed the suspect was dead, but did not elaborate on the cause of death. He did not say what type of gun was used. Sources say the suspect is believed to have killed himself after the mass shooting. Early indications are that the shooting was related to a workplace issue and did not involve rioters of the system. At Cassidy's 3-bedroom home, investigators discovered firearms and a large amount of ammunition, according to sources. No injuries reported at the fire. The believed shooter worked at the light rail yard for at least 8 years, shot virtually everyone on the morning shift, including some people he had worked with for years. Just senseless, pointless death. His ex-wife filed a restraining order against him in 2009. What can we say? What can we say? It's another one of these incidents, and we are standing by for a press conference at the bottom of the hour. And then we will see what, if anything, we learn from that. And I don't know exactly what we will learn from it at this point in time. I do have things to go over with you guys. Some of them are like sort of jokey, and I don't know if it's inappropriate. We have a tragedy here to do anything that's jokey. I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see. One thing that is really weird, and this I probably will cover tomorrow, is that a Fox News guest, retired New York Police Department detective Pat Brosnan, seemed to weirdly blame vaccines for this, saying like, as more people get vaccinated, more shooters are going to go out and do shootings. And this shooter was probably vaccinated. Like, if you plan to die in a shooting, either at the hands of police or your own, I don't think you're going to be worried about COVID. It's one of the most ridiculous takes I could imagine. Just listen to this.
In terms of that crime scene.
Good morning, Harris. In a rational world where there's adherence to the rule of law and respect for law enforcement, say pre the summer of love of 2020, I think there would be more
what the hell is this guy talking about?
Nuanced response in terms of opening a shooting, an active shooting right next door to where there's a load of armed professional shooters under law enforcement. But the rules have changed. Crimes are no longer illegal. There's no longer enforcement of lots of laws.
What does that mean? Crimes are no longer illegal. Like, by definition, a crime is against the law. It's like a verbal ink blot.
And there's an empowerment of these active shooters. And, Harris, this is a time that I wish I was wrong with my prediction, which I mentioned to anybody who'd listen, that once COVID starts to lift, these cowardly shooters will come out exactly in tandem with the number of vaccinations. You can be sure they probably got vaccinated. They were just scared to come out, and they're coming back. And you see,
guys, I can't pretend to know what's going on in the mind of a mass shooter because it seems so the opposite of everything that I could imagine ever being in a place in my mind. But I don't think if I wanted to do a mass shooting, I would say, let me wait until I'm vaccinated to do the mass shooting because I don't want to catch COVID. This is maybe the worst take I've heard about any shooting ever.
The numbers don't lie. The shootings are up dramatically, skyrocketing, actually, on active shootings throughout the United States.
Yeah, and the reason for that, you would imagine, is just people are starting to gather again. What the mass shooter needs is people to be working. And if you want to go and shoot a bunch of people at work, you've got to make sure that they're at work. And so, yes, it's true. As we get out of the pandemic, people are going to be in places again. Is the argument we should stay closed as a result of that? Like, this is one of the dumbest takes I've maybe ever heard about a mass shooting. So anyway, we'll talk about that tomorrow, but just an unbelievably boneheaded take. Okay. So we're standing by for the press conference at the bottom of the hour. Robert says via Super Chat, I work at a union. Seems like a biannual event we have to lock down because someone's threatening us. Sad to see brothers and sisters dead. Well, union or not, this is just a tragedy. Yeah, that Fox guy was a cop. That's crazy. That's crazy. Let me say thank you to Dub Fotech for the Twitch sub. I appreciate that. Also, thanks to C Missile, Tangela Irene, Harry 2023, Mulberry. Very much appreciate that, guys. Thank you. And yeah, I'll open some phone lines. Also, it's still on the table. If we get to the 100 members and Twitch subs, I'll open phone lines and I'll do a new garden video, update that on the next stream. If people want, also glad to just see what goes on with this press conference. But there's no shortage of things to talk about. Coupon code is working. Everybody relax. No need to stress. Oh, okay. Let me deal with this. You know what? I've mentioned before, one of the most frustrating things about just doing a show where people react to what you say. And I see the super chat about Christopher Hitchens. You know, I don't feel like I have to have a strong opinion about everything. I don't have a super strong opinion about Christopher Hitchens. I thought he said a lot of interesting things. Not everything he said resonated with me. He was clearly a brilliant guy. And I think a lot was lost when he passed away, but I don't have any huge opinion about Christopher Hitchens. One of the things that's really frustrating is when people react and say, David, I really disagree with that thing you said, when it's not something that I actually said. Like, disagree with me for the things I've said, and then we'll have a real conversation. This was a really weird post I saw on the David Pakman Show subreddit, which, by the way, almost 31,000 people subscribe to the subreddit now. This is someone reacting to my mask comments that I never made. Comments I never made. Okay, listen to this. Why David Pakman doesn't like wearing a mask. Every time Mr. Pac-Maniac talks about how he just follows the CDC guidelines and how he doesn't wear it outside, gives the impression he's disgusted with wearing it. No, I'm not disgusted. I just follow CDC guidelines. I'm not disgusted. I get the impression he doesn't fully understand that wearing a mask can protect you against catching cold, cough, etc. from someone else, as well as seasonal influenza in the winter. Right, but that's not happening outdoors, guys. It's not happening outdoors. And when the CDC said wear a mask outdoors, I was doing it anyway. But he doesn't even hint at that being a useful habit to adopt for U.S. society when seasonal influenza comes. Wrong. I've actually said I could see it being plausible that when we're in the middle of flu season, maybe grocery stores say, let's wear masks, or at-risk people wear masks. This is the opposite of what I've said. Why is it that these type of entitled people such as me in the U.S. always feel their freedom is being violated when they're asked to do something for someone else? I've not made the freedom, I'm not Rand Paul. I've not made the freedom argument once. This is not about freedom. This is about, we have public health agencies and I just follow what they say. And when they said no more masks outdoors, I stopped with masks outdoors. It's really weird. Seems like they just don't want others telling them what to do. I never once made a freedom or nanny state argument about this. Maybe you have my show confused with someone else. I don't know. And some good comments here. Pacman has explained his position on mass ad nauseum. Go back and watch. Your hyperbolic predetermined question shows you're acting in bad faith already. Also, do you want to try and convince everyone in the U.S. to wear a mask all the time? Most wouldn't even do it at the peak of the pandemic. What makes you think people will wear it for seasonal flu? To be clear, I don't think it's a bad personal choice to make to wear a mask more often, but it's just not happening in the U.S. at this current moment. Many are too stubborn, arrogant, or selfish. Masks are a medical tool that should be discarded when they're no longer medically useful. I don't think he stated he doesn't find them useful. He frequently discussed the value of wearing them indoors in crowded spaces, etc. He advocated for their use for a long time. I do think his criticism of the mandate to wear them outside is valid. The data and study results have at no point suggested outdoor wear was necessary. It's important to state outdoor wearing is also not effective for limiting the spread of cold and flu. Yeah. So I'm glad that usually people in the comments further attack me. So it's actually a nice change to see people in the comments defending me. People can't even troll correctly. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad that we've come to the point where even trolls don't know how to troll. Truly a tragedy, really. A few other super chats coming in as we stand by for this press conference. No guns, no shootings. The USA should ban guns. Never going to happen. It's just never going to happen. So I think we should be focusing on things that we can do, as I've outlined before. Nehemiah says, I like guns and am a gun owner. However, I don't understand how other gun owners can be so opposed to gun licenses, registries, and universal background checks when so many unqualified and unstable Americans have guns. Absolutely well said. The family asks, do you prefer physical books or ebooks? I am 100% on physical books. I just have not made the transition to ebooks. I like the physical book. At night when I'm reading in bed, I don't want a device in there. Get the devices out of bed. I don't want devices in bed. All right? Stop bugging me about switching. I get emails from people, even in my family, saying, David, it's time to stop the paper books. It is not time to stop the paper books. We are continuing the paper books. Thank you. A vegan plantry says, happy to join the live stream. Sad under these grim circumstances. Yes, well said. And we are standing by for a press conference here. David, do you have any opinions about the last mile vehicle or electric vehicle movement now that everything is slowly opening up? Last mile vehicle, is that just a per mile user fee? I don't know it by that name. You'd have to tell me a little bit more about that. Mass shootings is because of anger and misery, David, plus isolation. Make mental health support free. Therapists, mentors, life coaches for jobs and friends. That's a big factor for sure. No question about it. Welcome if you're just joining us. I wish it were under better circumstances. We have had another mass shooting, this one in San Jose, California. 9 dead, including the shooter. And shooter identified as a 57-year-old man who apparently burned his house down. And so we are standing by for a press conference. I do have a few unban requests. Hold on, let me see if I can reach my gavel. Here it is. Let me look at these unban requests. The first one is from a user named Yabba Dabba Doo, who, let's see, why were they banned? They said, if this is woke, I'd rather sleep. Reject politics, embrace gardening. LOL Israel. Just like fascism is undefined. None of this stuff seems bad. Don't get the vaccine, guys. Stay safe. Okay, they were banned. Yeah. So I see. Everything was fine until they got into don't get the vaccine. And then their unban request is, don't see why I'm banned. Never argued in bad faith and would like an unban. No, it's perma, unfortunately. Because we just don't do anti-vax stuff. That's just a hard line. We just don't do it. Another user, XKirbyZ, was banned. They said, do you use CDC guidelines to wipe your butt, David? They were banned, and they said I was being sarcastic. Okay, yeah, that's... I will unban. And adjudicated. That's fine. That was more of like a timeout, and okay, we have a sense of humor here. That's okay. Excuse me. We've had, I think, 7 permabans in a row. And it's nice to finally be able to unban someone. So very, very nice. Okay. If you're just joining us, you've not missed the press conference. We are standing by for the press conference. I also have a bunch of other things to go over with you. This is a very interesting documentary called Q a Mom. And it's about a guy whose mom is total Q conspiracy theorist. It's disturbing, but I want to check it out. Also, the woman running who's at the head of the Arizona election audit, or ARDIT, as some say, she was confronted by CNN, and it's really, really good. And then I want to review, people yesterday liked this, so I wanted to review my interview with this white supremacist Craig Cobb, who actually introduced the term kike wordsmithing during our interview, and it was pretty vile. So those are things on tap, but we are standing by for this press conference imminently starting. I will both open phone lines and do an updated garden video if we get to 100 website members and Twitch subs. Remember, if you're new here, the best way, and I really do mean the best way to support the work that we do, is to grab a membership at joinpacman.com. You get everything free that's good when you sign up at joinpacman.com, and the coupon code for a discount is immoral21. Immoral21. So I'll thank everybody who signs up, and we're going, just be best. Be best, everybody. Eugene Vernikov says, smart guns, anyone? Yeah, those are the guns where I believe it's fingerprint based. The gun will only work if it recognizes the fingerprint. Republicans hate it. They just absolutely hate it. Another user says via Super Chat, if no gun ban is possible, instead of universal basic income, universal body armor. Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Get the devices out of bed. Oh my God, that's a little too edgy. That's a little too edgy for the show. Michael says, hi, Hackman, what's up with really low live stream views? Sometimes the views are up, sometimes the views are down. We're just doing our thing. Channel keeps growing, all going well. Junie says, why is the American right wing so vehemently against the vaccine than the right wing in other countries? Israel, with its right-wing government, has over 55% of its population fully vaccinated. Oh, it's much more than that. All right, let's get to the press conference.
About their investigation and what they are doing now to provide resources and help to the victims and their families. There you see the Santa Clara County spokesman, Russell Davis, who has been briefing us all morning. And yeah, let's get started.
Everyone good? Good afternoon. My name is Deputy Russell Davis, Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office Public Information Officer. Before we start, I'd like to put out my thoughts and prayers to the victims and their families of what happened today. This is a tragic situation that we're dealing with right now, and we're using all the resources we have right now to find out what exactly happened and what transpired. Our first primary focus is public safety. We want to ensure everything that happened from today is we want to ensure the biggest public safety for the surrounding area and our whole community. This morning at 6:34 in the morning, Santa Clara County Communications received 911 phone calls of a shots fired call in the area of 101 West Younger Avenue, located in the city of San Jose, which is directly adjacent right next door to the Sheriff's Office headquarters. Deputies responded and received information that there were multiple shots fired calls located from that building. During this time, this was during a shift change where deputies from the midnight shift and day shift were on at the same time, going through a transition into different shifts. Once we received that information, deputies and surrounding officers immediately responded to the location and addressed the threat in the situation. They did not wait. They immediately went into the scene and rendered first aid and rescued victims out of the building as fast as they can to figure out what was going on. I can tell you this was at a Valley Transportation Authority light rail yard, which is next door to Sheriff's Office headquarters. Immediately once we received information of shots fired called, we immediately activated the Santa Clara County Active Shooter Protocol, which activated multiple law enforcement agencies in the surrounding counties, as well as multiple fire department agencies to initiate and activate the Rescue Task Force, which is part of the Active Shooter Protocol, which we'll go into more detail. Multiple agencies showed up and assisted, from local agencies within Santa Clara County, state level from the Office of Emergency Services, Governor's Office, the California Highway Patrol, and multiple federal agencies from the Federal Bureau of Investigations, FBI, ATF, and Department of Homeland Security. I'll tell you right now, with the numbers, and it's still preliminary and it's subject to change, we have 8 victims that are pronounced deceased from today's incident, from gunshot wounds.
So 9 includes the
We
shooter.
also have 1 suspect who is deceased as well
Right.
from this morning's incident. I can confirm with you that deputies did not exchange gunfire, and right now we're going to preliminary go with the assumption that it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound from the suspect, and deputies did not exchange gunfire. At this point, we have investigators on scene interviewing anybody that was on scene to see what exactly happened, and we have our CSI teams as well outside, along with conjunction with the Federal Bureau of Investigations assisting. Right now, if you are looking for a family member, loved one involved with this incident, we ask you to contact our Reunification Center, which is over here at 70 West Heading. It's located at the Isaac Newton Auditorium. We have grief counselors on scene. The phone number to call is 408-209-8356. I'll repeat it one more time, 408-209-8356. So this incident is going to take some time, and the reason why is because we're going to use all necessary methods to ensure the public safety for everyone. We actually had an explosives dog on scene, which detected to some type of explosives material at the crime scene itself. At that point, we activated the Sheriff's Office bomb squad, who is currently on scene and render any type of suspicious packaging safe at that point. I'll tell you, it's going to take a long time to render these areas safe. They have to go through every room and every building to ensure that everything is safe. So that's such as in bringing in a bomb robot in there, and it takes time. So I ask for your patience on gathering further information from here. It's going to be some time. Other than that, we have detectives on scene. We're doing everything we can, but I'll tell you this, with the training that we've been doing with our active shooter protocol, this could have been a lot worse of a situation. This is a very unfortunate situation. But with the training and everything that we have with this protocol, this could have been a lot worse than what it was, unfortunately. So that being said, I'm going to pass it on to Sheriff Lori Smith, who's going to give you further information from there.
What are the areas that you're covering with the bomb squad?
The bomb squad is pretty much activated, and they're searching every crevice of the whole building to ensure that everything is safe. Okay. And that's where it's going to take some time.
The VTA Transit Center?
The VTA Transit Center, which is a light rail, it's pretty much a light rail facility, pretty much, light rail garage.
What is the reason that Homeland Security is involved?
You know, we appreciate having federal agencies coming out. They come out here just to provide resources for us. Hey, do you need any assistance? And, in that case, and if we need help, we'll ask them out in that case. So they're just being that entity to help us out.
How many rooms will the robot have to go through?
It depends how big this building is. I haven't been in the building myself, but it's going to take some time. So we ask you for that patience.
Any indication on motive?
Any indication on motive? We don't have that information right now. This is still preliminary. This is still ongoing. All the information I have is I can give out at this point, and we're still getting that as we get along.
I'm guessing what he means by it could have been worse is when this started, a lot of people at the facility probably locked themselves in, and that probably prevented even more death, I'm guessing.
So much employees going up to work with a grudge and just spraying indiscriminately.
So this is a big building. I can't get into the details how big this building is, but it's a pretty decent-sized building. In regards with motive, I don't have that information. This is still preliminary, and I'm still trying to get that information at this point.
Do we know if the shooting took place inside, outside, or either way?
I don't know at this point if it's inside or outside. We have. Yeah, I'm going to pass it off to Sheriff Lori Smith, and then she's going to take over from here.
So what I'd first like to do is tell everyone that my heart really goes out to the victims. These were county employees, and we're doing everything we can to help them, including the Family Reunification Center. But I really want to commend the law enforcement in Santa Clara County. Several years ago, the Sheriff's Office, in conjunction with the County Fire Department, began a series of trainings for active shooter. And that training has happened throughout the county with law enforcement and all fire agencies. And why that differs is that at the time there's an active shooter, as soon as we can get one team together, we go in. The first teams through the door were the Sheriff's Office and San Jose Police Department, and they're my true heroes. There was active shooting going on at that time. There were victims shot in 2 separate buildings, but they responded the way that they should. They took their life in their hands, and I know for sure that when the suspect knew...
Uh-oh. So that's their feed.
It sounds like we're having a bit of a technical issue there. The signal has frozen at the moment, but you're listening to Sheriff Lori Smith talk about what happened there, saying just now some new information that victims were shot in 2 separate buildings there at the VTA rail yard. So 2 separate buildings is where this took place. We don't know if it was inside or outside. They have not said, but 2 different buildings, and also saying that active gunfire was taking place when first responders and police officers...
A lot of relevant super chats coming in. I do see
Sheriff's
them.
Office and San Jose Police entered the rail yard. So, Sheriff Lori Smith saying they are the true heroes today. They put their lives on the lines and entered during active gunfire.
Yes, they rescue people when they got there. She was, I think, about to say that the gunman, when he realized that law enforcement were there and he had no way out, that may have been the point at which he shot himself.
Decided to take his life. Yes, that is what it appears. Hopefully they get this feedback, because I actually thought that we were learning quite a bit about what's going on. I do want to say thanks to a whole bunch of people who grabbed Twitch Prime subscriptions. Appreciate that. Also, thank you very much to Jesus Armando Figueroa Salido, who just grabbed a membership at joinpacman.com. Very much appreciate that. I'm also being told that Gavin Newsom is speaking, so let me see if I can grab that.
A lot worse than what we could imagine, with 8 people killed before the gunman shot himself. But yes, one thing, of course, Liz, that they pointed out is that this is going to take a long time. That this process is going to be long because they have to go through every crevice.
Let's see if we've got it here.
That VTA Transit Center building.
Festival, just here in this community, down in Southern California, and San Bernardino. Remember a few years prior in Santa Barbara. Pick a state. And here we are in the United States of America. We're experiencing something just not experienced anywhere else in the world. There's a sameness to this. And that numbness, I think, is something we're all feeling. All of us gathered here today, looking at this scene, listening to governors, mayors, chiefs, speaking similar tone and terms, expression of condolences, all the right emotions and perhaps the right words, but it begs the damn question, what the hell's going on in the United States of America? What the hell's wrong with us? And when are we going to come to grips with this? When are we going to put down our arms, literally and figuratively, our politics, stale rhetoric, finger pointing, all a hand-wringing consternation that produces nothing except more fury and frustration, more scenes like this repeated over and over and over again. I say that not as a governor, I just say that as a father of 4. I say that as a member of this community, cares deeply about it. So we'll have time to work through all of that. But one thing I just wanted to briefly speak to is the pain in those victims. We just had the privilege of spending the last few hours with the victims that are waiting to just learn if their loved one is still alive. They're dialing the phones, they can't find it. They're trying to go on and find a phone of the loved one. Waiting to hear from the coroner, waiting to hear from any of us, just desperate to find out if their brother, their son, their dad, their mom is still alive. Just imagine being in there for them. I know everybody wants all the answers to all these questions, but there's no more important question and no more important answers that we owe than the victims of this senseless and tragic shooting. And so I'm not just going to express my condolences. I'm not just going to express the usual platitudes, but let me just thank the heroism of those victims. The fact that they can even stand up and support one another is remarkable. What a human act. And so I just want to, we just want folks to know we're going to be there for the victims. I want folks to know, I'm here for you, Mr. Mayor, and the county, this state. And I know we have elected officials of all political stripes who want to be here for this nation.
What audio?
But it's time to deal with the endemic before this pandemic of gun violence, the pre-existing condition that somehow sort of pushed aside last year, but now has raised its ugly head again this year. And wake up to this reality and take a little damn responsibility, all of us, to do a little bit more and a little bit better this time and move beyond the platitudes and the usual rhetoric that tends to mark not just these moments, but the aftermath of these moments as all of you go away and this fades out of view, and then we rinse and repeat someplace else in this country. So, again, to the victims, to those that lost their lives and the families lost their loved ones, yes, our hearts go out, but we are resolved to not make this meaningless, but to bring meaning at this tragic moment in our state and our nation's history. Again, thank you to all the men and women behind me and their courageousness and the incredible bravery that was demonstrable of the men and women in our San Jose Police Department and Sheriff's Office.
Governor, what do you say to the people who say California has some of the toughest gun laws in the country?
So next we're going to introduce Valley Transportation Authority Chair President Glenn Hendricks.
See if the other feed came back. No.
As you all know, a horrible tragedy has impacted the VTA family, the organization, and our whole community. And our thoughts and love go out to all the employees who have been directly and indirectly impacted by this horrible event. I want to let you know that the families have been moved to the Family Assistance Center at the Red Cross to continue to have meet with counselors about what's happening. We're really grateful for the outpouring of support that has come from union leadership and transit organizations from across the country. The VTA has suspended its light rail service and will probably be suspended for several days as we work through being able to get back into the yard. We'll be setting up bus bridges to go ahead and help get our customers around. We're asking that our customers be patient with us as we work through this event and try and recover our service. And I also want to thank all the law enforcement that's been involved in their quick reaction and the way they've been dealing with everyone who's involved by this. And once again, I want to say how terribly sorry I am and want to thank everybody in the VTA family who's been so affected.
Next we're going to introduce the President of the County Board of Supervisors for Santa Clara County, Mike Wasserman, and County Supervisor Cindy Chavez.
It was 2 years ago, mass shooting in Gilroy, and law enforcement responded quickly and minimized the number of fatalities. Last year we had COVID. Still have COVID, but last year was the big year, and the people and the county responded so as to have the lowest positivity rate in the state. Today we have this mass shooting here, and it was the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Department and the San Jose Police Department that responded so quickly to minimize the loss of lives. As you can see, our flag now is at half-mast to help commemorate and remember the people that have passed today. It is an extremely sad day in the history of Santa Clara County, but I'm also very proud of the response by law enforcement and then the VTA family taking care of the loved ones, the survivors and those that passed, and the district attorney's office that has stepped forth with the services they provided 2 years ago to the people in Gilroy and continue to provide every day and will provide to the survivors, loved ones, and family of those that passed. It is a sad day in Santa Clara County history, but I'm very proud of the response, including the unions that have come forward with funding and help. Santa Clara County is a family, and you're seeing that go into effect today. My condolences to all the family members and friends of those that passed today.
let me start by just reminding everybody that the backbone of Santa Clara County throughout COVID-19 was all the essential workers, and none were more essential than making sure people.
Maybe we've got better audio here.
Making sure people could get to their places of work, and VTA never stopped. It didn't stop light rail. It didn't stop buses. It didn't stop helping move people from point A to point B. These heroes that we all learned how to call essential workers heroes, we're now calling on them to be heroes again. There's a fund that's been set up for these families, and by going to workingpartnerships.org, anybody who wants to make a contribution to the families that have been impacted, the VTA families that have been impacted, can do that directly by going to workingpartnershipsusa.org. I just want to close with this point. While my heart breaks, I can't stop thinking about what we could all be doing differently to stop this in our community, so this doesn't become something that just happens here, but something that should never happen. And thank all of you for being here. Thank you.
Next, I'm going to introduce the Mayor of San Jose, Sam Liccardo.
It's been said before, but it's worth saying again. Our hearts are broken for the family members who have lost their loved ones, for our VTA family members who have lost their friends and colleagues. I'm joined here by Councilmember Raul Perales, who himself lost a dear friend, and Councilmember Matt Mahan. These are members of our community. These are members of our families. And right now, this moment is for mourning and for supporting those families and friends and loved ones. And we're going to do everything we can here at the city with all of our partners, and I'm so grateful for how everyone has stepped up. The Valley Transportation Authority and the county, and to have the governor come down here, literally came down here, said, I don't need to speak to anybody on any stage or anything.
Oh no, not again. Man, this feed is just not good.
Has frozen up once again.
I guess we'll go back here.
Of our community and how we care in times of tragedy. Tomorrow, we're going to have a vigil at 6 p.m. at San Jose City Hall. We know that our entire community will need this moment and many others to mourn together. And so we want to bring people together to be able to at least share a common humanity, particularly given all that we've been through over the last year and a half. This is a time when we need to be together. I want to thank Working Partnerships USA and South Bay Labor Council for setting up a fund, and we encourage anyone who wants to give to help support families in this difficult time to please give generously to that fund. These are, as Supervisor Chavez said so well, these are...
You know, we expect sort of platitudes like this, and it's great that all these people are here, but there's no change on the horizon on this issue of gun violence. There just isn't. I mean, oh, so now something's going to change when we just hear the exact same stuff. I mean, it's just infuriating.
We owe them and their families so much. And I am so grateful for the San Jose Police Department and the Sheriff's Office that responded so quickly, undoubtedly saving lives as a result. We will continue to show our resolve as a community to come together. And as the governor indicated, we've got a lot of work to do to start to work on solutions.
Yeah. We're all sad again. We're all recognizing the tragedy again. We're all praying for the families of the victims, and we're donating money to them, and we're holding a vigil, and we're calling for action, and, okay. I'm not saying the mayor of San Jose can fix this, by the way.
Special agent in charge of the San Francisco office, Craig Fair.
Just like, how long will we do nothing, I guess is the question.
The special agent in charge of the San Francisco division of the FBI here in the Bay Area. On behalf of the FBI, we'd like to express our condolences to the families of victims, VTA family, and to the city of San Jose in the wake of this tragic crisis of which the FBI is no stranger to responding to. The FBI is assisting the city of San Jose, the San Jose Police Department, and the Santa Clara Sheriff's Office in this investigation. They are lead. We are providing assistance in the form of
evidence response and recovery. We are flying national assets from Quantico, Virginia. We will be providing ballistics, technical forensic equipment and analysis. We will be bringing teams in from other divisions throughout the FBI to assist in the analysis of the crime scene. That is going to take some time. It is complex. We are very deliberate. We are required to map and catalog evidence, and that is going to take some time, and I'm asking your patience in that process. We are also providing victim assistance, victim services during this crisis to help families heal. We will be here as long as needed and continue to provide that assistance. I would also like to commend the first responders, the officers who went in at their own peril to assist in taking out victims from our homes. Thank you very much.
Special Agent, could you describe a little bit how complex this is? It looks like it's multiple buildings. You're already starting to map it. I see some of that. This is a really, you're talking multiple locations, right?
It is multiple locations. It is, as I said, it's a very sizable crime scene. We are currently in there looking at how we need to go and how we need to process that. That is also going to take some time before we actually start processing this.
Any idea how long?
I'm with you guys. You know, it's like, of course they have to do this. And it's like, how many times have we heard the crime scene is big and it's wide and it's long and all of this stuff? Okay, right. But what could we prevent something maybe?
Joshua Jackson. Good afternoon. My name is Joshua Jackson. I'm the Assistant Special Agent in charge with the ATF San Francisco Field Division. ATF definitely wants to express our deepest condolences to the victims who lost their lives or injured, the families and friends of those individuals, as well as community at large who are suffering at this time. ATF is here supporting this investigative effort, as well as providing all of our experts in firearms, arson, explosives, to include our certified fire investigators, our certified explosives specialists, as well as our explosive detection canines. In addition to our personnel, we're also providing firearm ballistics information, resources related to our National Integrated Ballistic Information Network, NIBIN, as well as tracing. ATF is committed to reducing violent crime throughout all the communities that we serve throughout the United States, and we're committed to see this one through, supporting our investigative partners here in this investigative team. Thank you.
Joshua, can you talk about the different dogs we've seen, like all kinds? They have different specialties. Can you talk about...
Did he say dogs?
I can comment on the ATF explosive detection canines that we have. Currently, we have 5 ATF explosive detection canines that have been deployed to support investigative efforts. And those canines are being deployed on the scene right now.
Talk about the importance of NIBIN in this case.
Of knives? What are people saying?
As far as it provides ATF and our investigative resources the ability to be able to trace firearms and ballistics evidence, to link it to other firearm crimes or other crimes that might be involved. It's not to say that the evidence here has not been processed for NIBIN yet. The crime scene is still being processed as we speak. Evidence is still being taken into custody. That will take place at a later date. Thank you.
You will use NIBIN, is that correct?
So we're going to pass it off next to San Jose Police Department Chief Anthony Mata.
Good afternoon. I want to extend my sincerest condolences to the victims, our family, and our community. There's no doubt that the courageous acts of our men and women at the San Jose Police Department saved lives and helped rescue the over 40 employees that were present at this facility. Again, I'm extremely proud at the partnership that we have with our Sheriff's Department, the Fire Department, our federal partners, again, to limit the loss and the tragedy that has occurred today. We are here to support our community, our families, and our law enforcement partners as we help them with their investigation. Thank you for your continued support of the San Jose Police Department and of all law enforcement here in the county.
Next, we're going to introduce the San Jose Fire Department Chief Robert Sapien Jr.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Sapien, San Jose Fire Department Fire Chief. This morning at about 6:30 a.m., 3 significant incidents unfolded that required us to mobilize all of our on-duty available resources. Unfortunately, the second of those events was the younger incident where our personnel were dispatched to an emergency medical service.
Let's switch feeds again.
Ultimately, we learned it was this active shooter event. Our personnel very quickly employed their training and equipment, which allows them to tactically integrate with law enforcement officers. In today's event, there's some relief in reporting to you that the operations could not have gone more efficiently or effectively. The training that our firefighters receive in cooperation with our law enforcement partners allows them to treat trauma victims as quickly as possible to give them their best chance at survival. At today's event, as I said, operations ran as trained. And so we are very thankful that we were able to be here to provide assistance. We are very sad for the losses in our community, and we continue to be present to support our community. Thank you.
Can you describe the 3 events? The fire, there was a shooting, and what else, sir?
So I'm going to introduce next is Gene Cohen. This is from the South Bay Labor Council.
Good afternoon. My name is Gene Cohen. I'm the Executive Officer of the South Bay Labor Council. We are here with all the working men and women in Santa Clara County to stand with our ATU brothers and sisters. Today is about supporting victims. It's about sending love and support to everyone who came to work this morning intending on serving the public and ended up not going home. It's unacceptable, and what we're asking for right now is for there to be respect and love that's dedicated and shown to all of these workers. They need money, they need support, and we need to make sure that their families are also being respected in terms of giving them their space to mourn. So thank you so much for the opportunity to make sure that all of our workers have the opportunity to let you know that when you go to work, you should be able to go back safely, and that right now we're going to be making sure that as a family we're taking care of each other. Thank you very much.
Oh. And there goes the feed again. We'll go back to the one with the terrible audio.
Saying this is an active sheriff's office investigation, and we will continue to provide you updates. But again, the deputy sheriffs from the sheriff's office, the officers from San Jose Police Department ran into the building while shots were being fired, and I know that it saved many lives. Thanks to the fire department also being part of our active shooter protocol and our rescue team. So we had some heroics that I think resulted in a diminished loss of life. You know, we're real proud of the people who serve in this county and that responded to this incident. And we will take some questions, and you can direct the questions at any of the speakers if you would like.
Can you please explain any more details as to how, even in general terms, where the fatalities were located? Were they all located inside the building on a particular level? Can you explain what that building was used for?
So in regards with fatalities and locations, like I was saying earlier, it's still preliminary at this point. So one, we have to get the Sheriff's Office bomb squad in there to clear the area for investigators to go in and conduct their investigation. So this is going to be a very timely and methodical situation. So it's going to take a lot of time. So I don't have that information.
Quick follow-up though, all the bodies were found inside a facility in a building or out there?
It's within that facility area. I don't have those answers at this point.
So
it's still preliminary. It can be either. I don't have that information at this point. It's still preliminary.
Has anybody you talked about 9 dead others that
So on top of the fatalities that I mentioned, there is one person at a local trauma hospital that's listed in critical condition at this point.
Was the shooter a legal gun owner, and can you say what the weapon was that he used?
Right now, I don't have that information in regards to what weapon was used in that information.
So are there bodies that are still inside the facility that you have not been able to recover and remove yet? And is that
why there has been some delay in definitively telling family members what's happened to loved ones and they can't get in contact?
Yeah, so we have investigators on scene with the Santa Clara County Coroner's Office right now. So they're doing their investigation to follow up, see what they have, and also contact the next of kin. We just want to make sure we ensure the privacy for the family and loved ones that were involved in this situation.
Were there any weapons involved in the house?
I'm sorry?
Were there any weapons recovered from the house?
That's still ongoing. Weapons regarding with the suspect's house, we don't have that information right now. It's still ongoing in that case.
What was the connection between the fire at his house and the shooting? Did the fire erupt before he left to go to?
So I know there's some speculation saying there's a house fire within the city of San Jose and then something involvement with this. Again, we're using the investigators to determine if there is any type of connection to that case, but right now it's still preliminary and ongoing. Yes, sir. I don't have that information at this point.
So he can't say anything else, really.
Any other questions?
And the explosives were discovered or indicated by an explosive detecting dog in the building?
Correct. So there's an explosives detection dog, an EOD dog is what we call, that detected on a suspicious device. Immediately we activated the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office bomb squad, and they're going to use their protocol and pretty much canvass that whole area to ensure that it's safe for our investigators to go in and conduct their investigation at that point. So it's going to be a very timely, methodical. We're going to be there throughout the night to clear every room and every crevice of that building. We know that it is a very big building, and we're going to use everything because we want to ensure the safety for the deputies and investigators and everyone else around, that it's clear and safe.
Are they just searching the building, or will they also search the light rail trains, tracks, the area around?
We're going to search everywhere. We're going to do everything in all due for us, and we're going to use all the resources that we have, and that's why we have multiple surrounding law enforcement agencies here, including federal agencies, to assist us with this investigation.
Calls to 911, was it people inside the building?
I don't know if it was a drive-by, it was a passerby, or somebody inside the building that called 911, but it got received to us at 6:34 this morning. I don't know if they're in the same place. I know that they were employees. I'll tell you that the suspect that was deceased is an employee from BTA. One more question, then we're going to wrap it up. I'm sorry?
Can you describe the explosives that were found?
Explosives, it's still preliminary. The bomb squad's doing everything they can to utilize and find
or explosive material?
everything. We're going to use everything from precursor chemicals to any type of explosive devices to any type of objects and materials. We're going to use all of that and determine exactly what.
The dog sniffed one. Has any more been found, or is it just the one for right now?
Once we have when the dog smells on something and has a scent, we're going to activate the bomb squad and we're going to utilize those resources from there. I don't know. That's still, again, preliminary, and then we're still trying to get that information. What I'll tell you right now, just to wrap things up, this is our last press conference for today regarding this incident. Again, please give us patience and time with this. We want to be very methodical and very transparent and make sure we do a thorough investigation on this. So please give us time. I know you want more information. Please bear with us. And then once we have more information, we will send out an updated press release statement from our agency. Okay? Thank you, everybody.
About the 3 different incidents. What were the 3 different incidents that utilized?
All right.
Thank you for the question. A little more information on the 3 incidents. So at 06:29 this morning, we received a report of fire on Smith Avenue, which is a commercial area of town, or commercial industrial rather. That ultimately was a second alarm fire. The second incident, as I said, was this incident here on Younger, and the latter was in a residential area in town on Angmar Court. That's ANGMAR Court, and that ultimately was a second alarm fire.
And what time did that third call come in?
The third call was at 06:36 hours. The information I have is that the fire on Angmar is under investigation, and that's all I know at this time.
Okay.
I do not have any information.
Any special precautions that your firefighters had to take as they were running in here today?
Our firefighters are equipped with ballistic protection, which is a bulletproof vest, helmet, and goggles type of equipment.
All right, we're probably at the point where we're not going to learn anything else from this. Looks like they're trying to wrap it.
I do not have reports of fatality.
So we're going to wrap up this press statement. Everyone here will be here for individual interviews if you're interested, and then we'll wrap that up. Thank you for everyone for coming out.
All right, so there it is. Not a lot of clarity and certainly no feeling whatsoever that now we're definitely going to deal with this issue of shootings in the United States. So that is that. Shane says, I guess Ben Shapiro's stupid movie didn't fix the shooting epidemic, did it? No. Christopher says, I realized 2 years ago, if you can't beat him, join him. We on the left need to stop waiting for gun control and take control by getting a gun. A statement many disagree with, but many agree with as well. And even people I know personally who have reacted the same way. All right, let's look at a couple of other things. This is a documentary called Cue a Mom. A guy interviewed his mom about all of the conspiracies and delusions that she believes. And it's pretty depressing. It's pretty depressing. Check this out.
Pretty much every conversation. Hey, Mom, you wearing a mask when you go out these days?
I don't believe we've had a pandemic. I believe it was a plandemic. If you look at Rockefeller's lockstep, it was planned in 2010. It's all laid out exactly. It has to do with a new world order.
Okay, but we can all agree that these wildfires are pretty intense, right?
Oh, I do not believe the wildfires in California and Oregon are natural. I've actually seen the blue beams in many videos, so I believe
blue beams
definitely direct energy weapons.
Maybe we just need a good laugh. You want to watch some Stephen Colbert tonight?
I definitely feel he's a pedophile. Definitely. Because he makes jokes at Pizzagate and everything. The people that make all the jokes about it, saying it's not real, they're trying to diffuse it. He's a big part of it.
Wow. All right, let's just talk about music. Did you hear the new Lady Gaga album?
She's really a bad satanic. She's really into the spirit cooking. I've seen pictures of her at the spirit cooking where they're eating human meat and they have like a naked body in the middle of the table. And she
it was starting to get a little scary. That's when I decided that the best way to put her ideas to the test was the old-fashioned way, by betting some cold, hard cash.
$100 on each one.
$100 on each one. So what is bet number one?
Bet number one is by April 1st, Biden will not be in office.
Okay.
Bet number two is that Obama and Hillary and Nancy Pelosi and Brennan and Comey will all be arrested.
How could this person work any job? Like, what job could you work if you're this delusional?
I don't want to name too many names, but I'm just going to say $100 that A-star Hollywood people in the music and in Hollywood will be arrested for pedophilia and satanic worshiping and sacrifices. I'll give you some examples.
Right, she could be a yeah. This is the only job I could see her working would be, hey, would you like me to help you start your own home-based business where you can make anywhere from $100 to $10,000 a day? Yeah, exactly. I think that's really all she could do.
Tom Hanks.
Imagine if we find out she's a brain surgeon.
Oprah. Okay, I think it'll be 100% proven with no dispute that huge election fraud with the Dominion machines. Also, I think it's going to be proven that Capitol Hill on January 6th was definitely Antifa. And Black Lives Matter, and it was 100% arranged. Right now, I believe that FEMA and the military are in control. Why there's all this.
Is this a separate bet?
Yeah.
Is this funny? I can't tell. Or is this just scary?
Because I do believe the Pope will be arrested for being a pedophile. And
you know what's funny about the Pope thing? When someone says the Pope will be arrested, the first question I have is, by what authority? Will Italian law enforcement enter Vatican City? And like, there's a jurisdictional issue there. It's not like it matters to these people, but that's just like, I would immediately go to that.
Child molestation. And you're going to see some proof soon, and you are going to be shocked to the core. You probably won't be able to get out of bed in the morning. And you're going to probably call your mother and say, I can't believe all the crazy crap that you showed me all these years is really true. OMG, you were right, Mom.
So this is the fantasy that you live in?
No, I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, this is Marjorie Taylor Greene's mom. That's the secret.
Before she got deep into all this stuff, she used to just be into a lot of quirky new age health stuff. Things like foot baths, protecting herself from electromagnetic frequencies, and these lasers.
Yeah, so as you can see, and we've talked to conspiracy experts before, it's an all of the above with a lot of these people.
How she got from point A to point B, I will never understand. I've begged her many times to stop sending me anything through the internet. A lot of the things she sends me tend to take over my screen and I can't get them to stop.
She feels like she wants to know
She's sending what? She's sending spyware too? That's brilliant.
the truth. And so she feels like when she's watching these things, that it really is the truth. But I keep trying to tell her all the time that it's almost a fool's errand to think that you always know what the truth is. I'm very pleased that she doesn't care that I am not on board 100% with everything that she thinks. She's fine with me going my way and her going her way. So I think that as far as a marriage goes, it's great.
It seems great, yeah. If you're just joining us, this is Q a Mom, a guy who documented his mom's complete conspiratorial delusions.
I think there was, like everything, gradual. I think when she first got it, she probably just used it for making telephone calls. And then as time went on, yeah, I'd say that she's pretty much on her phone most of the day.
Dear God.
If she could be in a room all day and just watch one video after the other.
She also has a mildly confused look every time she's reading something on the phone.
But once again, not all addictions are bad. I don't think.
What are some other good addictions?
Meditating.
I'd call that more of like you've built up the habit of meditating. I don't know that I'd say it's an addiction.
All right, Mother, so what do you got in your hand there?
7 Benjamins that I'm not very happy to depart with. I feel like I easily won the election fraud. If it wasn't for these fax checkers debunking
Fax
it
checkers?
all, but I believe
I didn't think fax machines were even a factor in all this.
it's real.
All right, well, any final thoughts about what we learned here today?
I was thinking of doubling my money, of course, so I was thinking I was going to win. But now I realize the way everything works, I was too optimistic.
See, this is the thing about conspiracy theorists. She doesn't think, so the things she bet on didn't happen, but she doesn't think they didn't happen because her understanding of the facts is wrong. She believes it's just that she was too optimistic that they would be dealt with. You see how that works?
I still believe they're all true.
Right.
You can't think that all these people were arrested.
They should have been. Right. Yep. There you go.
I want to state that we do not have a medical pandemic or epidemic. We also state that COVID-19 should not be on list A for any long.
I'm not sure exactly what I expected. I knew these bets weren't going to suddenly change her mind and make her give up on all these conspiracies. But at the end of the day, I think they did make her a little bit less confident in them.
Pretty interesting. Nicely done. Nicely done little documentary. That's by Dirty Sean, who only has 759 subscribers, incredibly. Let's see if that went up while we were watching, because people must be liking this. Oh, it looks like he lost subscribers while we were watching. That's weird. Anyway, very nicely done documentary and really disturbing stuff. Big thank you to Josh the Jerk for signing up on via Twitch Prime, number 19 today. I appreciate that. Also, a little mini dump of memberships at joinpacman.com. I want to say thank you to Gage Knowles and Bradley Donovan, who just signed up at joinpacman.com and are new members 20 and 21. Consider yourself, I'm not talking about you, really you. Consider yourself invited to sign up at joinpacman.com. Haldol Harry says, from the standpoint of medical, what approach is needed to control these Q people? Should we put my username in the water supply? Do they even drink water? Oh, we got to be careful with water, because with water, that water is another way that they're controlling us. You got to be really, really careful with that. Really careful. All right. So there's QAmom. Speaking of conspiracies, a CNN reporter confronted Karen Fann, who's the Arizona State Senate president, who's kind of like the impetus behind this audit or audit happening in Arizona. Let's listen to a little bit of that confrontation.
But why wouldn't we want to answer those questions?
Because you're questioning democracy.
No, I'm questioning the integrity of the election system.
Which is the backbone of democracy.
That's right. Which means we should have full 100% confidence in our democracy and in our election system.
So the thing is, a classic move by conspiracy theorists is to reverse the burden of proof and to do what Karen just did, which is, don't you want to be 100% confident that there was no fraud? We should be 100% confident. And the question would be, do you have reason to believe we should not be confident? And do you have reason to believe that the alleged irregularities are materially significant and might have actually impacted the election results of even a single state? You can't let them reverse the burden of proof. Conspiracy theorists love to do that.
But you're talking about trying to disprove conspiracies.
If I have to, yes. Why wouldn't we? If somebody says something is out there, I would love to be able to say, that's not true, guys.
Aren't you raising more questions by giving rise to these conspiracy theories?
No. I'm answering questions.
After declining a dozen requests from CNN to talk, we finally caught up with her in the Senate parking lot. Yeah, despite two previous audits in Maricopa County that found no widespread fraud.
Check this out. I think they show video of the different techniques they're applying. Check this out.
Fann says this third review is needed. Over the last month, we've seen this little-known subcontractor the Republican-led Senate hired, Cyber Ninjas, use UV lights.
Check this out. Did you see? Look at these people with a flashlight. Look at this. They've got the ballot in a black box, darkened box with a flashlight.
Hunting for non-existent watermarks on ballots and high-tech cameras.
Look at that. Look at these cameras.
Looking for...
Did you see the guy wearing a Bass Pro Shops hat? That's a specialist.
For foreign fibers and photocopied ballots. Here's why, says Fann.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Are you 100% confident?
Here it is.
That every vote that came in Arizona or any other state, can you say emphatically 100% that no dead people voted, that ballots weren't...
Well, dead people don't vote, so yes, I can be 100% confident about that.
...filled out by other people, that the chain of custody from the minute people voted their ballots...
So this is the reversal of the burden of proof. Karen, do you have reason to believe that there were such irregularities that are materially significant to the election results? It's not whether the CNN reporter is 100% confident about every ballot. It's, do we have any reason to do all of this stuff if we don't even have evidence that would have materially affected the election results?
Chain of custody was accurate and on target the entire time. Can you tell me that?
I can say that what the data shows us is that there was no widespread fraud.
I didn't say there was fraud.
But you just said chain of custody.
Yeah, chain of custody.
Dead people. These things are all fraud.
Well, I've asked you a question.
Why is it that it's up to others to prove there was no fraud, or otherwise you audit every vote? Like, that's just not the way it works. You have to bring a cause. You have to make a case that there's a reason to do this.
Can you honestly tell me in all the states that no ballots from people that are already deceased were not filled out and sent in?
I can tell you that what the data has shown overwhelmingly is that this was the most secure election in American history.
Okay, but you can't answer that question either, can you?
See, I wish the reporter attacked the question.
I'm answering it. I'm telling you that...
No, you're telling me what the data says.
Well, what we care about is data. I hate to tell you, Karen.
I asked...
And you were asking me... is what we should be driven by.
What the facts are may be the disconnect. Van defends the pro-Donald Trump media organization One America News
this is
Network,
good.
or OAN,
Check this
as
out.
being the only outlet given extensive access to the review.
First of all, when we talk about transparency, from day one, the entire process has been live streaming. So anybody
On OAN, with cameras controlled by OAN.
Are you saying that OAN is not a credible
They're not, yeah.
news source? Are you
Yes.
saying that? Okay, I'll remember that. CNN is saying that OAN is not a credible.
Yeah, no, write that down in your notebook, Karen.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
OAN personalities have fundraised for the Arizona audit, and a pro-Trump nonprofit claims it has raised $1.7 million for the audit. Fan says,
Imagine donating to this.
when the audit nears its end, the public will learn who is exactly paying for this. For now, she says taxpayers are covering the first $150,000.
Well, we are paying the $150,000. We are paying for some of the security, and we are paying for the cost of the Coliseum. Well, we're paying for our fair share. Anything over and above that is being covered by others.
Think of the problems we could solve if everybody who donated to these various audits and recounts donated to something related to child poverty or the environment or whatever. Like, think about the problems we could really be solving.
I do not know who they are, but I know from the get-go there was a lot of grassroots people.
Oh, yeah.
I have been told that there are people sending in $10, $50 checks, $100 because they want to see this on it.
I'm imagining some little old lady in Texas, saying, well, I really need them to do this. I'm going to send them from my fixed income, $20.
Done.
Fans' decision to continue with this audit is backed by the Republican majority in Arizona's Senate.
All right. Anyway, you guys get the picture. So that's that. It's all disgusting. Big thank you to Adam Gordon. Adam just signed up at joinpacman.com with the coupon code BETTER21 and his new member number 22 today. I appreciate that. Also, thanks to a Black White Rook for 17 months subscribed via Prime, new member number 23. And Josh the Jerk, thanks for the Prime sub, new member number 24. Okay, then by popular demand, people liked this yesterday. This is a really short one. Here is my interview when I interviewed that white separatist Craig Cobb, who wanted an all-white community in South Dakota. Here's a classic from the archives. Take a look at this.
Craig Cobb, who is a member of the Creativity Religion involved in non-military democratic village building in Leith, North Dakota, and who says it is supremacist for the government to test its social theories on unwilling human subjects. Mr. Cobb, you're a self-described white supremacist.
I don't even understand the introduction, to be perfectly frank. What does that introduction even mean?
Early 60s, you've started buying up these lots of land kind of southwest of Bismarck. What's the goal here? Are you trying to create kind of like a white enclave there?
Yeah, that's correct, David. And actually, in terms of my being a white supremacist, as a member of the Creativity Religion, we are more white separatist. We don't want to lord over other races. We just want to be away from them.
Right.
To have our own Lebensraum, our own space.
So how did you develop this? I mean, I'm so interested in extremism, and we're actually having someone in a week, next week, who's going to be on who was born to extremist parents and actually realized the insanity of the situation she was in and was able to leave. Did you have racist parents, or how did you get into this white separatist movement?
No, I didn't have racist parents or racialist. I grew up looking at Life and Look magazine. You know, in those days, that's how we got information, photo spreads and such. And I remember looking at pictures of Rudolf Hess and seeing
photo spreads made him racist.
Him in Spandau. And then I wondered to myself, even though I was only 11 or 12, why a man would be kept in an entire prison like that. And then later, a few years later, after the cities burned in the riots of 65 through 67, I became a supporter of George Wallace, who said famously there wasn't a dime's bit of difference between the two parties. Well, now there's not a wood and nickels difference.
Yeah, no, I understand. You know, I talk a lot on this program about how increasingly Democrats and Republicans are both beholden to the same corporate interest and all of that stuff. But that doesn't necessarily get me to hating Jews and distrusting women, right? I mean, I'm not seeing the connection. Like, how did you decide that you don't like Jews and white people should have their own place to live?
Well, they've slaughtered very many whites, 20 to 30 million in the Ukraine, the Gulag under the NKVD, Kaganovich and Laventry Beria. under Stalin. And the Western Europeans saw that, and they reacted. And of course, a province of Germany was ruled by Bolsheviks at one time. People do not want that. They went to Estonia, for example, and matriculated with PhDs in the late 30s.
Whoa.
They were given autonomy by the Estonians, and they paid them back. They thanked them by coming back with Molotov in 1940 with
Anybody following this at all? Like, I still am not following it.
machine guns in the streets and nailed babies into the trees. And
right, but Mr. Cobb, in the interest of keeping us focused, late 1930s matriculation, again, for most people, it doesn't lead to them hating Jews. I'm trying to see today, in other words, like, what's your grief with Jews today?
Well, they control the top 10 universities, the law schools, and graduates of those schools become arbiters of thought on
Here we go.
television and in our court system.
Okay,
And
now we're getting into the meat of it then.
Yes,
Okay, so let's
yes.
explore that term control, right? Because this is actually, I hope the audience is paying very close attention here, because
Oh, the audience is riveted.
this idea of control is very common to anti-Semitic beliefs and kind of conspiratorial thinking, which is if we can acknowledge that there are any number of different groups from particular socioeconomic, ethnic, or religious backgrounds who tend to do better or worse in certain areas of life, that's one thing. But then skipping to this idea of the conspiracy of control is where things seem to go off the deep end. So talk to me about that. Where is this idea of the conspiracy to control coming from?
This is like pure anti-Semitism compared to some of the stuff we see, which is like veiled.
Well, let me backpedal to your term, anti-Semite. When a Jew tells you that you're an anti-Semite, what he means to tell you is that he's anti-white. That's what it comes
Explain that. So, like, for example, you're saying that because I'm Jewish and I use the term anti-Semitic, I'm actually anti-white. Now, what if I use that term about someone like, for example, who isn't white, right? If we talk about whoever it might be, Louis Farrakhan or whoever, am I still anti-white when I use that term?
Well, Louis Farrakhan understands Zionism very well. He's a very great man for his people.
Oh, so
But
you like
you're
him?
not a
Okay.
Semite.
He likes Louis Farrakhan. Of course. That's a classic. Of course. Of course.
I think, David, you're not much Semite. You're Ashkenazi and Khazar mix.
Oh, that's the Khazar myth. Yeah. Oh, I had forgotten he brings up the Khazar myth.
So really, there are relatively few Semites in Israel. About 4/5 of them are descended from Ashkenazi Jews.
This is the Khazar myth, which is meant to claim that Ashkenazi Jews are not really. Yeah. Okay. So this is a known thing. You can just Google it. The Khazar myth.
A lot of them from Poland, actually. And so when they say anti-Semitic, they're including Semites, Arabs. A lot of people don't know that Arabs are Semites.
Right.
So it's a lying term and it's a manipulative term.
Okay, so you don't like the term, but we're not really getting into the control issue. Because we have limited time, I want to touch on one other thing. You're wanted in Canada right now.
Oh, boy.
Why not go to Canada and face justice and face the charges that are against you right now?
I will go probably when I'm 90 or 100 years old. I will tell you, when you say I'm wanted in Canada, that's for a so-called hate crime. And just like gay and
shocking,
so many other terms, these are terms devised by Jews to oppress whites.
Okay, let's stop right there, though. Hold on a second, because that's huge. I want to touch on that. So the term gay is a term devised by Jews to oppress white people. Let's explore that in detail.
Well, when you're teaching kindergarten boys to have flaccid sphincter muscles, look, what's gay about it? They have high STD, they have high alcoholism, high rate of sexual partners, high rate of dying from AIDS, high rate of suicide.
Man.
What's gay about it? And I'll tell you an example on that is in Estonia, they had an organization called LICT, which
But
means
hold on, whoa,
Yes,
Craig,
yes, yes. All right.
I need to keep the focus. Let's put aside Estonia for a second and flaccid sphincters or whatever it is you're talking about.
Well, that's what homosexuals have.
But
David.
hold on a second. The question is, when and how and which Jews developed the term gay in order to oppress white people?
I don't know the etymology of it, but I can tell you they invented the word racist. It was Max Eastman, Trotsky's translator in 1932.
But you brought up gay, so I just wanted to follow up to see if you had any data on that.
It's ultimate. I'm not sure the precise etymology. I actually
That's what I
remember a lot of
figured,
it in
yeah.
the early 70s when they changed that term. They're always concocting terms. Now the one is for HUD affirmatively pushing housing. So what they're going to do in all these communities, like Leith, by the way, perhaps, is if your town is not 13% black and Hispanic, Mexican, illegal or whatever, they'll ship them right in. That's why they can call me a neo-Nazi, David, and the Associated Press.
What on earth is this guy talking? This is a very ill guy, right?
A few weeks ago, stopped using the term illegal alien, as did the University of California. But neo-Nazi is fine, you see.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, I don't know if that's exactly going to happen. Yeah, right. So, I'm sorry, what was that last thing?
I say that's kike wordsmithing.
You guys, you hear that, huh? That's something.
Oh, I see. Okay. Hey, so last thing here, I'm as a logistical matter, purely as a logistical matter, how do you develop and learn about all of this stuff you're talking about when you don't have like phone or running water and you live in the middle of nowhere? Like just as a practical matter,
how did this guy become so educated on these issues?
Curious.
Well, I have a Verizon hotspot, but I'll tell you, I live in the Bakken, and the average wage up there is $71,000 per year. There are 35,000 people in Williston making that money, and this town, Leith, is very close to that. We're going to get white guys up there and get them good jobs in the Bakken. So,
Bakken? What word is that? The Bakken? So weird.
I'm seldom at my home. I'm usually working 70 hours a week.
What kind of work do you like? What kind of work does a guy like you do?
I was working for Border States Paving in Fargo, and I was fired because of my religious...
Imagine you resurfacing your driveway and this guy shows up driving the truck. Can you imagine?
...activities which propel me to do political activities.
Yeah. Okay, well, listen, Craig Cobb, you've truly said it all. We're going to keep following this white enclave community. As you know, of course, we didn't even get a chance to talk about it, but it really does seem like it's just not going to be allowed to even really take place.
And of course, it never happened. Like, as an aside, the entire premise for the interview is a complete fantasy that will never happen.
But that's probably something you disagree with, and we'll have to save it for the next time. I know that you have a lot to say about that. We're just out of time. I wish we had more. But there's a lot of controversy. We've been speaking with Craig Cobb. He is a member of the Creativity Religion. They are non-military, just in case people were wondering. We'll take a break and plenty more.
This guy actually is black. That's the crazy thing. Check this out. This is amazing. I think I even did a clip on it. Yeah, check this out. This is my old clip.
Months ago, I interviewed white separatist or white supremacist Craig Cobb. He's the guy who wants to start this
where's the clip?
whites-only community in North Dakota, South Dakota. I forget which one it is. So last week or the week before...
This is just wild. Where's the original video? Does TYT play the clip? Let's see.
He's the leader of our white supremacist movement.
Oh, yeah, here it is. Check this out. He did a DNA test. Turns out he's black.
Craig Cobb. Craig Paul Cobb has undergone DNA testing to determine genetic ancestry. 86% European and...
Isn't this the best? This is just one of the best.
Give it to him. Give it to him. 14% Sub-Saharan African.
I guess he's not allowed to live in that community he's trying to create in Leith or wherever, one of the Dakotas. Man, that is something else, huh?
Wait a minute. Hold on.
So,
This is called statistical noise.
sweetheart, you have a little black in you.
Listen, I'll tell you this. Oil and water don't mix.
So, hey, bro.
Man, that is just something, huh? I don't know why, but that is just absolutely hilarious. So there it is. Yeah, the racist guy, 14% black, and that's what's going on. Wow. All right. Thanks, everybody. Sad that we had to be together under what are tragic circumstances with this shooting, but we reviewed some things. We chatted. I took some messages from you. Yeah, this is this is actually, I get that. Let me address this super chat. Do lesbians also suffer from flaccid sphincters based on what Craig Cobb said? These anti-gay guys, they almost never care about lesbians. And if you push them on it, like the immorality and all this stuff, if you push them on it, a guy like Brian Fisher, whose interview we reviewed yesterday, he'll be like, well, lesbians have problems too, but they don't, it's not really homosexuality. It's men, it's male gay relationships that they're obsessed with. And that's like a whole other conversation for a different day. All right, everybody. Thank you. Probably stream tomorrow. Subscribe, like, do all these different things. Just don't email me spam. All right. It's just, that's one last thing I want to do. Check out this message. I posted this to my Twitter. This one came in from Danny today. You're, Y-O-U-R, the same disease we the people won't gone. Spreading lies and fear. We the people will stand together and we are coming for you all. So that's on my Twitter. I hope that you guys are following me there. And then I posted one to my Instagram as well. Here's another one. Unfortunately, I caught 10 seconds of your show on Monday night, and you felt you had to explain Marjorie Taylor Greene's comments to me like I'm a child. Wearing a mask is stupid, and so is the vaccine. In case you haven't heard, a lot of young kids are having heart issues from it. They're not even giving it to young kids. Why don't you do what's good for you and leave us alone? We are all adults and we know what she meant. To say thank you for your translation. I can't wait to hear more profound translations from your dumbass mouth. I think you are part of the Nazi regime. You sure sound like it. Don't tell me how to think. You effing clown. Nice blue shirt, by the way. You're kind of attractive for a dumbass. For a dumbass. All right. I'll leave you guys with that. See everybody tomorrow.